This is your brain. And this is
brush pack.
This is what happens to your brain after snorting.
Brush pack.
And this is what your body goes through. Wait, it's not over yet. This is what your family goes through. And your friends and your money. And your job. And your self-respect and your future. And your life. Any questions?
Brush packs fucking suck. Okay, they don't suck. They're actually super mega fun packs, but they don't do the shit that you think they do. Brush packs are the equivalent of 3 kids on top of each other wearing a trench coat labeled shortcut to good art. That's why I'm here to pretty much tell you why I think you should stop downloading so many fucking brushes, and what brushes you actually should keep to make sure that your art's looking the best it can. If that sounds interesting to you, let's get into it, shall we? Hey, I'm Diego, and I'm here to show you why everything you have ever believed about art is ultimately wrong. As I do with all my videos, this is the point where I beg you with all my heart and soul for you to spare me a follow on Twitch, where I stream on most Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and have now figured out how to stream my art, as well as ask for you to check out my Instagram and Twitter, at thatmfdiego, if you like what you are seeing. But you know what? Not this time. No more self-plugging. Now, to kick off the video, let's discuss why I think you shouldn't be downloading as many brushes as you already are. Starting with my very first reason, even though there's like 2 reasons, they aren't magical. Brushes are tools you use as a means to make the art that you want to make. The brush only goes as far as you can take it. Shit ain't a Tesla. It isn't gonna drive itself. You need to put mileage into your skills before you can truly get the benefits of using a lot of different textures. My point here is that just because some scummy ass Instagram ad told you that this brush pack will help you create lively illustrations or some other vague buzzwords, it doesn't mean that you will transform from the hobbyist to Ross Dross overnight. But okay, I get it. You want to keep downloading brush packs because you are in a search for the golden ticket of brushes. Well, this leads to the second and final reason you should stop downloading so many brushes. Brush anxiety. The concept is simple. The more brushes you download, the more anxiety you're going to suffer while trying to pick what fucking brush to use from the 200 plus that came in that concept art mega pack you downloaded. The average artist uses about 1 to 3 brushes in the average painting. So then, what the fuck are the other 197 for? You need to stop falling for that whole leaf brush, smoke brush shit, because not only does it look digital as hell when you stamp 1,000 little leaves on a blob, but now you're sitting here trying to manage a brush for every situation.
Here's my little brush for leaves, and here's my little brush for skin, and here's my brush for blonde hair, and here's my brush for brown hair.
Does that not sound fucking insane to you? Stop downloading so many brushes. It doesn't help you at all in the long run. But I'll extend an olive branch to you. I get that it is impossible to not download brush packs that look enticing. I download brush packs all the time. But you need to start using the brushes properly so you don't get overwhelmed and download one after another, after another, after another. So, here's Diego's brush checklist. From what I have experienced so far, you only really need a couple of brushes at most to make 95% of paintings. That's a figure I pulled out of my ass. Whether that be a landscape, a portrait, or porn, you're probably gonna need a sketching brush, a main brush, and an airbrush. You can also have secondary and tertiary painting brushes to add variation, but I don't really feel like complicating it that much, so just think of those as different variations on your main that can have more texture, weirder shapes, color dynamics, and all that fun, goofy shit. So, let's get into how you can find these in your packs, or at least give you a general idea so you can modify your current brushes to have these. First up, let's start with a sketching brush. Just like any other brush, this is very much a personal preference thing. Wow, what a fucking surprise. But if you aren't sure of what you want, you're gonna want a brush with some size and slight opacity jitter. I actually used this one brush from Ganev's video on how to make better lines. So you can click on the little thing up top or in the description to find those brush settings for yourself. Next, you're going to want a main painting brush. This is where things can get as complicated or as simple as you want them to be. But in the interest of time and the fact that I don't have a fucking clue how to make good brushes, I'm going to simplify this concept as much as possible. Brushes are composed of pretty much 3 parts: the shape, the hardness, and the texture. Here is where testing comes into play. You're gonna wanna play around with different shapes, right? You're gonna wanna play around with rectangles, squares, triangles, even the circle, even though that's really fucking basic. And I mean, it might work for you. I don't judge. You're gonna wanna use different hardness settings. You can make the brush really soft and easy to blend for a more polished look, or go for the hard brush with a tiny bit of softness for more painterly strokes and a bit more oomph, a bit more character. Now, the part where most people go a little overboard is texture. Now, this is very, very style specific, but for a wide array of styles, you'll want to probably put just a little subtle texture to it, if any. Why? Because the more texture that you're adding, the harder it is to control the brush to a reasonable degree, which defeats the very purpose of having it in the first place. Why have a main painting brush that you are meant to go back to constantly throughout your painting as a comfort brush if you can't control it at all? If you're just splashing around with it constantly, you're not gonna be able to go back to it constantly. Lastly, you want an airbrush. And I don't fucking have to explain this one. Now you know what you need for a very basic brush pack. Cool? Gnarly. That's pretty much what you need to know to basically get your brushes in check. Now, I know that this was a bit shorter than my other videos, but I felt like brushes are such an overcomplicated part of art that one kind of learns mostly by doing and feeling things out. So going the simple route was probably for the best. You get information in the clearest form possible, and I get to not torture myself by listening to the sexy voice for hours on end while editing. In all honesty though, I really felt inclined to make this video since I have always struggled with what brushes to use. So I thought I'd share what I personally think is a decent conjunction of brushes to use and rely on, since often enough, not knowing what brushes to use can fucking destroy your drive to paint. Anyways, if you'd like to see any other tutorials from me, please leave it down in the comments. As while a complete powerhouse for inconsistently putting out not only art, but as of recently, videos too, I always love hearing feedback on what you guys would like to see next. Now, if you excuse me, I have some brush packs to buy. I wanna stay away, I wanna kiss your face, I wanna do this for